Welcome back to Trading the Market. As I have zero interest in the World Cup, except supporting Austria as I have them in the sweepstake, up that's team. Myself and the rest of the team have been working heavily on Sports IQ. First of all, let's look at the Sports IQ filter. Now before we start, let me ask you a question. Have you ever opened up a day's racing card, looked at 80 races, 700 horses, 14 different tabs, and then within about 3 minutes found yourself wondering why you just didn't take up fishing instead? Because that's exactly the problem this tool solves. The reality is most people don't need more races, they need fewer races, they need the right races. And that's where the SIQR filter comes in. But before we go any further, let's quickly talk about SIQR. SIQR stands for Sports IQ Rating. It's our own rating system that measures the strength of each horse in a race and compares them against one another. Now before anybody asks how it works, nice try. I spent years building it. What matters is not how the number is formed, what matters is how you use it. So let's look at the filter. The first thing you'll notice is the preset system. Let me ask you this, do you find yourself using the same filter over and over again? Most people do. Maybe you found a particular setup that works well for your style of trading. Maybe you like races where there's one standout horse. Maybe you prefer competitive races where several horses rate closely together. Whatever your approach is, you can save it as a preset and load it instantly with all the SIQR ratings displayed. No more searching for the race cards for the same numbers every day like you're entering cheat codes on a PlayStation 2. Now underneath that you'll see the odds market selector. In this example we're looking at the win market. You can change this for top 2, top 3 and top 4. And this is where things start to get interesting. You'll notice you can filter by highest SIQR, second highest SIQR, second lowest SIQR and lowest SIQR. Also number of runners and whether the race is a handicap or not. Now let's think about that for a second. What sort of race are you actually trying to find? Are you looking for races where one horse dominates the rating? Or are you looking for races where the field is tightly packed together? Because they have very different trading opportunities. Let's use the example on the screen. I've told the software, show me races where the highest rated horse has an SIQR rating between 70 and 100. And show me races where the second highest horse is rated between 0 and 50. And show me races between 4 and 20 runners. Now what I'm really asking here is I'm asking, can you find me races where top rated horses appear to have a significant rating advantage over the rest of the field? And straight away we found one, the 1640 at Kilbeggan. Let's have a look. The highest rated horse is Lecoq Hardy with an SIQR of over 70. The second highest horse is Impero with an SIQR of around 41. Now let me ask you another question. If one horse is rated nearly 30 points higher than its nearest rival, is that something worth investigating? I'd argue it probably is. Notice I didn't say backing, I said investigating. Because one of the biggest mistakes traders make is confusing shortlist with a betting slip. The filter doesn't tell you what to back, the filter tells you what deserves your attention. Those are two very different things. Think of it this way, the filter is the bouncer, it decides which races get through the door. You still need to decide which ones deserve your money. Now you'll also notice the odds displayed underneath each horse. These are live Smarkets odds, and they'll continue updating throughout the day as money enters the market. Why is this useful? Well, let me ask you another question. Would you rather identify a potential opportunity at 9 AM or after everyone else already spotted it at 2 PM? By seeing the live market alongside the SIQR ratings, you can start to identify situations where the ratings and the market either agree or disagree. Sometimes they line up perfectly, sometimes they don't. And those disagreements can often be where interesting opportunities arise. Now another thing people often miss is runner filter. Why does field size matter? Well, ask yourself this. Would you expect a horse rated significantly clear in a 5-runner race to have the same challenges as a horse rated significantly clear in a 20-runner race? Probably not. The more runners you have, the more variables get introduced. Traffic, pace, positioning, field size changes the races dramatically, which is exactly why we allow you to filter it. The same applies to handicap races. Some people love them, some people avoid them completely. Personally, I think it's worth understanding what type of race you're dealing with before deciding whether it's suitable for your strategy. The beauty of Sports IQ rated filter is that it doesn't force an opinion on you, it simply allows you to ask questions. And that's really what good trading should be, questions, not predictions, questions like, can I find a race where one horse dominates the ratings? Can I find a race where top 4 horses are closely matched? Or can I find a race where the market and the SIQR disagree? The more specific your question becomes, the more valuable this tool becomes. And that's the key takeaway from this feature. The SIQR filter isn't designed to find a bet, it's designed to find a situation. Because over long term, successful trading isn't about finding one magical horse, it's about repeatedly finding the same situations you've historically performed well. That's what professionals do. They don't chase races, they build processes, they build filters and they build systems. And they let the data do the heavy lifting. So here's my challenge for you. Don't just copy the filter I've used in this video, ask yourself, what type of race am I actually trying to find? Once you can find the answer to that question, the SIQR filter becomes a very powerful tool. And unlike me, it never gets tired, never needs a coffee, and never spends 20 minutes analysing a race before realising it was looking at yesterday's card. I look forward to hearing and seeing the filters you share. I look forward less to the DMs of people asking me to build one for them.
Ignore Mark, we love the World Cup, and that's why we are supporting Belgium. Up the Red Devils. Right then, let's talk about the TradeSense list. And before anyone panics, no, this is not a list of dogs we're backing. In fact, it's pretty much the opposite. So let me ask you a question. What's easier, finding the winner of a 6-dog race or identifying the dog that's likely to struggle? Most people spend all day trying to find the next superstar. Some of the best opportunities can come from identifying the dog that's simply in the wrong race, in the wrong trap at the wrong time. That's exactly what the TradeSense list is designed to do. Every single day, our systems analyse the racing and build a shortlist of dogs that we believe are vulnerable. Dogs that may be overestimated, dogs that may have poor profiles for the race conditions, dogs that based on our data could be worth opposing. If you want to know exactly how TradeSense works, you would have to take me hostage, and even then I don't think Mark will give it up. The amount of work that's gone into building this thing would probably make a grown man cry. Just know there are a lot of moving parts underneath the bonnet. What you see is the final output, the shortlist, the dogs that have triggered our criteria. So let's have a look at what we're actually seeing. For each selection you'll see the race, the track, the distance, the grade and the trap number, and of course the dog itself. Now let me ask you something, would you rather spend 2 hours manually checking every race card looking for weak runners, like I do every fucking morning for Patreon? Or would you rather start with a ready-made shortlist? Because that's the entire purpose of this feature, to save you time, and more importantly, to stop you missing opportunities. Looking at today's list, you can immediately see the selections identified by TradeSense. These are the dogs that have triggered the system, not because they're expected to win, but because they're expected to underperform relative to what the market might be suggesting. Now, one thing I really like about this page is what happens after the race. Over on the right hand side, you'll see 2 columns, finished and success. The finished column shows where the dog actually finished. Pretty straightforward. No smoke, no mirrors, no mysterious disappearing results. If the dog finished 3rd, it finished 3rd. If it finished last, it finished last. If it somehow managed to get itself boxed in, bumped, turned around and still finished 2nd, you'll see that too. The success column then tells us whether the selection achieved the TradeSense objective. The important thing is that the result is tracked. Every selection, every day, no exceptions. Because if you're going to evaluate a system properly, you need to see the winners and the losers, the good days and the bad days, not just the screenshots that make everyone look like a genius. Now, one thing you'll quickly notice as you follow TradeSense is that it isn't about predicting every race perfectly. That's not the goal. The goal is to consistently identify dogs that appear vulnerable. If someone offered you a test where you only had to identify one weak player in a team rather than pick the best player, which would be easier? Most people would probably find the weak player first, and that's often how opposing runners works. We're not trying to find perfection, we're trying to find weakness. We're looking for flaws, slow paws, poor profiles, question marks, potential negatives, and over hundreds and thousands of races, that can become a very powerful approach. The beauty of the TradeSense list is that it allows you to focus your attention where the data believes there may be an edge. You don't need to analyse every dog. You don't need to study every race. You don't need to spend your afternoon scrolling through endless race cards wondering whether you've accidentally become a full-time greyhound historian. The software does the hard work. It identifies the candidates, builds the shortlist, tracks the results and presents everything in one place. Your job is simply to decide how you want to use that information. Trade it, lay it, analyse it, or simply learn from it, because at the end of the day, betting isn't always about finding the best dog in the race. Sometimes it's about finding the dog that has the most reasons to get beat. And that's exactly what the TradeSense list was built to help you do.
Hold on, James, that's not it. We have more. I want you to imagine it's 10 AM. You've got your coffee, you've opened up Sports IQ, you've got 200 matches staring back at you, and for some reason your brain says, yeah, I can analyse all these. 3 hours later, you've got 17 different windows open, you somehow ended up looking at a second division game in Kazakhstan, and you try and convince yourself that FC Tractor Parts United are valued at 2.74. We've all done it. The problem isn't finding football matches. There can be too much football. The problem is figuring out which matches are actually worth your time. That's where TradeSense comes in. Every morning, the system wakes up and does something most traders don't have the patience for. It looks over the next 8 hours and it goes hunting. It hunts for patterns, market setups, the sort of opportunities that have historically shown characteristics we like. Then it throws everything else in the bin. And what you're left with is this, the Football TradeSense list. A short list of opportunities that survive the complex decision tree. Well, it's more of a forest at this point. Think of it like a football's version of a talent show. Thousands enter, very few make it through. The matches on the screen are all the ones that made it to the final round. Now what you'll notice straight away is something a bit different. We're not just showing you fixtures, we're showing you the trades. That's important because a lot of people look at football completely backwards. They start with the teams, then they try and force a trade. You want to use your new fancy lay the draw strategy and go looking for games to match to it. Well, TradeSense starts with the data, then finds the trades. Massive difference. It'll offer you one of the following trades. Over 0.5 first half goals, over 2.5, over 1.5, both teams scoring over 2.5, over 0.5 second half goals, lay the home team, under 1.5, lay 0-0, both teams score, no back the home team, away and draw, Dutch 0-0 and 0-1, over 1.5 first half goals, both teams scoring over 1.5 second half goals, Dutch 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 and home and draw.
Mark, you need to remember to breathe. He'll be okay. I'll give him a bloody kick in a minute if he doesn't get up. Now, where was he up to? Here we are. These trades are not always set and forget. So it isn't saying mortgage the house. It isn't saying tell your wife you found financial freedom. It's saying the data has identified a situation where you may have found value. The important thing is that the trade recommendations are based on what the data sees, because football isn't one sport. Not really. An Icelandic game isn't the same as a Brazilian game. A Swedish game isn't the same as an Argentine game. A top of the table clash is not the same as two teams whose season has effectively ended 3 months ago. TradeSense understands that, or at least understands it's a lot better than Dave on Facebook who says, I fancy goals in this one, and refuses to elaborate further. Now let's talk about the thing most people secretly love. Results. Because everybody likes systems when they're winning. That's easy. The real test is whether you're willing to show what happens afterwards. That's why we've got half-time and full-time tracking. The selections don't disappear. The outcomes get recorded. The list updates. And over time, you can build a picture of exactly how this system performs. Good runs, bad runs, everything in between. Because football has a funny habit of reminding us we're not actually in control. Sometimes you'll watch a lay 0-0 selection and get a goal after 3 minutes. Sometimes you'll watch two teams miss enough chances to make you wonder if the players are being paid per missed shot. That's football, and that's why we're dealing with probabilities. Not certainties, just statistics. The biggest mistake people make in betting is believing the goal is to predict every single result. It isn't. The goal is to consistently put yourself in good situations. That's it. And that's exactly what TradeSense is trying to do. It's not replacing your brain, it's replacing the part of your day where you waste 2 hours looking through fixtures that were never worth looking at in the first place. Because if a system can narrow 300 matches down to 7, you've already won half the battle. I've been James, this has been the shortcut to better trading opportunities, and together we are all trading the market. And until next time, happy trading. Mark, you good, mate?
Up that Steve!